So YCS Chicago just finished, and with that, the winner of YCS Chicago is Raphael Nevin. And, well, the deck he took was Lunalights. Yeah, that's right people, Lunalights have officially won a YCS. I never saw this in a million years. I don't think anyone saw this coming. But yes, it's 100% true, Lunalights did take first place. So with this in mind, is Lunalight actually the best deck, considering it just won a premier event like this? Well, in today's video, I'm going to ask that question, and well, answer it. So the focus of Lunalight as of right now is actually with Raphael Nevin's list to go second. The idea is you can play cards like Pankratops and Kaijus to support your going second idea of OTKing with Leo Dancer. So what does Leo Dancer do? Well, it's a Dark Beast Warrior fusion effect monster with 3500 attack, 3000 defense. It requires Lunalight Panther Dancer plus 2 Lunalight monsters as material, and it has the following effect. Must be fusion summoned with the above fusion materials and cannot be special summoned by other ways. Cannot be targeted or destroyed by your opponent's card effects. This card can make a second attack during each battle phase. Once per turn at the end of the damage step, if this card attacked a monster, you can destroy all special summon monsters your opponent controls. So, why is this card good? Well, if you couldn't tell, this card is an OTK machine. I mean, oh my goodness, this card outputs 7k by itself, and I mean, that's really good. That's more damage than Boral Sword can output. So this deck doesn't even need to play something like Boral Sword, and with Raphael, he didn't even play it. So Lunalight Leo Dancer definitely is an OTK machine. The focus is to turbo this card out with a card like Lunalight Wolf, which basically is a polymerization that you can also banish materials from your graveyard for fusion material. One thing you're going to notice automatically though is that it requires Lunalight Panther Dancer. And you might be asking, well, if it requires Lunalight Panther Dancer, how are you going to get access to that? I mean, Lunalight Panther Dancer requires Lunalight Cat Dancer, which then becomes a whole process and multiple fusion summons. Well, then we have a card like Kaleido Chick, which is basically the heart and soul of the deck besides Lunalight Tiger, which I'll get to in a little bit. Lunalight Kaleido Chick is a Dark Beast Warrior effect monster with 1400 attack, 800 defense, and the following effect. Once per turn, you can send one Lunalight monster from your deck or extra deck to the graveyard. The name of this face-up card on the field can be treated as the sent monsters if used as a fusion material this turn. If this card is sent to the graveyard by a card effect, you can target one polymerization in your graveyard, add it to your hand. You can only use this effect of Lunalight Kaleido Chick once per turn. If this card is banished, you can activate this effect. This turn, your opponent's cards and effects cannot be activated during the battle phase. So actually, all of these effects are relevant, except for it's when it's sent to the graveyard effect. That one isn't relevant at all because you're not playing polymerization in the deck. But basically, the idea is you can send any Lunalight monster to your grave with Kaleido Chick, and then it can be treated as the monster. So the way it works is Lunalight Kaleido Chick can either send Yellow Martin, which I'll talk about that in a second, or it can send Lunalight Panther Dancer, which then Lunalight Kaleido Chick can either be used as the material or you can banish it from your graveyard with Wolf, which is what you're typically going to be doing. Kaleido Chick isn't a hard once per turn at all, meaning you can also use its effect multiple times to get access to multiple cards. So for example, if you want to send Yellow Martin and send Panther Dancer, you can do that, especially when you use Lunalight Tiger in order to keep reborning Kaleido Chick. One thing I should also point out is its battle phase effect, which is also relevant, or when it's banished it gets the battle phase effect where your opponent cannot activate cards and effects during the battle phase. That's actually a very relevant effect, considering if you use that effect, your opponent cannot use Ray during the battle phase. So essentially, that means you have guarantee OTK. Your opponent can use Widow Anchors and everything during the main phase, but that's not going to matter too much if you drop Lunalight Leo Dancer on them and just swing for a crud ton of damage. So this card can set any Lunalight monster, and obviously there's Panther Dancer, but as well there's a new card known as Yellow Martin. Yellow Martin is a Dark Beast Warrior effect monster with 800 attack, 2000 defense, and the following effect. If this card is in your hand or graveyard, you can target one Lunalight card you control except Lunalight Yellow Martin, return that card to the hand, and if you do, special summon this card in defense position, but banish it when it leaves the field. If this card is sent to the graveyard by a card effect, you can add one Lunalight spell/trap from your deck to your hand. You can only use each effect of Lunalight Yellow Marten once per turn. So basically the idea of Lunalight Yellow Marten is to keep recycling Lunalight Tiger. And the reason why that's so good is because Tiger basically is a pendulum monster with the pendulum scale effect that you can reborn a Lunalight from your grave, and if it's destroyed by battle or card effect, you can reborn a Lunalight from your grave. So essentially it's a very powerful monster reborn card. But the crazy part about it is it's not a hard once per turn. So Yellow Marten makes that card even more crazy because Yellow Marten can return Tiger to the hand in order to special summon Yellow Marten, and then you can use the Tiger effect again in order to reborn another Lunalight monster. So yes, it gets kinda crazy from there. Keep in mind, Kaleido Chick cannot trigger any of the sent to the graveyard effects because it sends as cost, but ignoring that, if it's sent to the graveyard, which you can use with dangers, which I'll talk about in a second, that's another part of the Lunalight deck that Raphael was running. Yellow Marten, if it's sent to the graveyard by a card effect, you can add a Lunalight spell/trap, which cannot get you Lunalight Perfume because it has a space in between Luna and Light for whatever reason. But since that space is there and there's no errata or anything, you cannot search Lunalight Perfume. But you can search Lunalight Serenade Dance, which is actually really good because when it's in the graveyard, you can banish it, send one card from your hand to the grave, and special summon one Lunalight monster from your deck. So that makes goods even better because you are playing Foolish Burial Goods in this deck as well, and from there it just becomes crazier and crazier. But then we also have to talk about the dangers in this deck. So basically dangers circumvent the idea of applying pressure in this deck, because obviously playing pure Lunalights is great and all, but then dangers just add a whole nother ceiling to this deck. One thing that's actually really cool is if you're playing Danger Mothman, which you should be, Danger Mothman not only is a level 4, but if it's discarded, it can also trigger the effects of the Lunalights in order to search for a Serenade Dance or do other things, etc. So the dangers are just overall really good for, again, digging for your combo pieces, potentially hitting really good cards that are used in the graveyard for, again, for example, the Lunalight spells and traps, but just, again, they put free bodies on field, making them better and better. So overall, dangers just circumvent the idea of OTKing and just applying so much pressure. One thing that's really cool about this deck, which I'm not gonna lie about, is the fact that if you are forced to go first, it just doesn't even matter. So if you're forced to go first, then you just make Azathoth on their turn with the Phantom Knight link. So the idea is you turbo out the Phantom Knight link, get the Phantom Knight rank up spell, and you send a Silent Boots in order to banish it and get yourself a Shade Brigandine, and from there you go Shade Brigandine, overlay for Time Thief Redoer, and from there you just go ahead and use its effect banish, return itself, and on your opponent's main phase, that's where you can go ahead and use your rank up spell in order to rank up into Azathoth. And I think one huge thing to know about why this deck did so well at the event was because there's no Altergeist. So basically, if you made Azathoth, usually it's way better against every other deck except Altergeist. But because there's not one Altergeist in the top 32 of Chicago, that made Lunalight's job much easier in order to get first place. So I feel like if there was a higher representation of Altergeist and Lunalights were forced to go first, then honestly they'd be in a kind of bad position. Even though they can overlay for Tornado Dragon, which is really good, it really just depends on the scenario. But just Azathoth is not nearly as much of a blowout, and I think honestly that's another reason why it was so good to go second with this deck. If you were playing a go first Azathoth turbo variant, that would just mean you were going to lose to Altergeist and some decks. It just wasn't going to be nearly as good. But the fact that this was a go second deck honestly makes a lot of sense, and I would 100% agree with that idea. So ignoring the theory and deck building that went into this deck and how it actually works, let's talk about the actual event itself and why I think Lunalights did so well at YCS Chicago 2019. First off, nobody really knew how to play against the deck. So a good example was in the deck profile, they literally mention a guy who states Twin Twister during standby phase stops the rank up spell, and then you can also just special summon Pankratops, and that also forces out the entire play of Azathoth, so it's just not good whatsoever. So if you force your opponent to go first, you have plenty of side deck options to counter Azathoth. Nobody really knew how to play against this deck properly, and that's honestly exactly why it did so well at this event. It's very similar to prank kits, and I know I was hyping up prank kits a bit ago, but that was some hype I should not have done because obviously now we can see that prank kits aren't really that great of a deck. I mean, they take up one slot at every YCS typically, but that's not the greatest. They're like tier 2 probably, but at the same time, I think Lunalights may see some tops here and there, but I don't think anything will come close to this. This was pretty crazy. And so just in general, with all of that said, overall, I don't think Lunalights are bad. I think they're definitely pretty good, but I don't think they're tier 1 whatsoever, and I definitely do not think they're the best deck. I think the big reason why they won was just because of the fact that the interactions were very weird, and a lot of people just didn't know what the cards did, and nobody really knew how to play against the deck, which overall very heavily helped the Lunalight deck that Raphael Nevin piloted in order to win YCS Chicago. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed. If you want to support me further than just watching my YouTube videos, go down into the description and support me on Patreon. It helps out quite immensely. As well, if you guys want to talk to me further than just my YouTube comment section, go down into the description and join my Discord server. Thank you guys so much for watching, and with that, I hope to see you soon.